Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Tagpros Education. This afternoon, I have the pleasure of being one of your presenters for the Women of STEAM. My workshop will be about augmented reality. My name is Joyce Zerda, and I am an assistant administrator of MZED Christian School in Cebu City. I am also the music and arts coordinator of our school. I have been using augmented reality in the classroom for years, and now that we are on lockdown and everybody is learning remotely, I see the value of augmented reality even as our learners are at home. For those of you that are not familiar, augmented reality is an enhanced version of the real physical world. It is achieved through the use of digital visual, auditory, and sensory stimuli that can be delivered through technology. And these technologies can be the use of an iPad or the use of a mobile device. Augmented reality is very common. It is widely used in many of our social media apps, like filters. So if you're the type to like to change the color of your hair or to enhance your facial features, or maybe play around with the dancing Shrek through your camera, these are simple examples of augmented reality. In today's workshop, the goal will be how to create or render your own augmented reality experience with a favorite app of mine that is called Ijac. So if you would like to later on see some of these images that I've created in my class, you can download the app. I'll put a picture right here. That's how it looks like on the Play Store or the App Store. You could also download it directly from the website, ijacapp.com. Later on, I will also be showing you how you can recreate what I've done in my class through the Ijac Creator. And that's just as simple as downloading the program onto your desktop and bringing in assets. It's going to be really exciting. I would like to talk about some of the reasons why I believe AR plays a very important role in and out of the classroom. Number one, AR helps explain abstract and difficult concepts. Now, let's talk about coronavirus. Many of the young learners don't really understand how a virus can make somebody sick or what it actually looks like. AR can show the learners what a virus looks like and how it floats around in an environment and what components of a virus can make somebody sick. So now the learner not only understands it, but also can see it and visually absorb the information of how this virus works. Now, the body is a very amazing creation of God. But how our body works can be quite difficult to comprehend. AR can bring the heart into the classroom by using different applications to show you how a heart beats. This is why now learners don't only get to read about it, they don't only get to see videos about it, they actually get to move the heart around and they get to interact with it. That's the power of augmented reality. The second reason is it enhances engagement and interaction. Augmented reality inside the classrooms allows students to ask each other and describe to each other what they're experiencing. But how you ask, do I increase engagement and interaction now that all my learners are working from home? Well, if you are able to jump on a call with your students and use an AR experience, showing them what it's like to interact with, let's say, underwater or outer space, you can allow them to describe what you're seeing, navigate you around that experience, and then they get to interact and engage with each other. You could also ask another learner to jump on that AR experience and take their class around. The next is it amplifies discovery. Discovery is a very important tool of experiential learning. Not only will they be able to discover how things work, they will also be able to discover skills that they thought they never had or were not able to hone. So I am an art teacher. And when I used to teach art face to face, we would create animations on top of our artwork that we render into AR experiences. I'm not much of an artist, but because of the process of seeing the artworks come to life, I am challenged to push my artistic abilities, not just in drawing, but even in animating, using PowerPoint or keynote presentations, and just seeing how I am able to take a simple drawing and bring it to life with AR. And I've seen how it also impacted my learners in the class and how they were eager to learn how to draw and eager to learn how to animate because of what AR was offering them in the end. Lastly, it's a very good tool to teach object modeling. Now, there's this app called GeoGebra, which I'll talk about later on. And it's an app that helps teach geometric shapes and concepts by seeing 3D images of specific models created or examined through different applications. Allow me to walk you through some of my favorite apps that are not only useful for teaching art, but other subjects as well. I only have one requirement when I talk about apps, and that these apps should be free apps. Good news, right? Our first app is called GeoGebra. GeoGebra 3D to be specific. If you're familiar with the GeoGebra app already, it's an app that helps teach math geometry and make it simple to learn. But with GeoGebra 3D, you are able to look at how shapes are created by using formulas. Now, not only can you type in a formula and see how the shapes are made, you are also able to recreate specific shapes with the GeoGebra calculator that can be found on any web browser. So the video that I'm showing you on the screen currently is of a math teacher, I would like to assume, who is asking his students to recreate the image of a cup using a specific formula. Now, he's creating it simply on a web browser. He will later on export that and then render it so that the students can now see how their shapes were created and how it looks like in the GeoGebra 3D app. So the nice thing is, if you are in the classroom, you can see if your shape matches the one that is actual that has been actually used by the teacher. But if you are also not in the classroom, the teacher can take what they've created and then export it into their own app and see, oh yeah, you've created the exact same replica of what I'm requesting. So that's really neat. It's not just creating shapes, but creating meaningful shapes that also teach new concepts or test concepts. The next app is something that's been around for quite a while. It's called JigSpace. So if you're familiar with JigSpace, you kind of know what it's about. But for those that are not familiar with JigSpace, it is a free app that you can download off of the Play Store or the App Store. And it comes with hundreds of jigs, which they call examples. And these jigs are examples of how things work. Like, for example, how a machine works. Like, it can show you the actual underwater. It can show you outer space. It can show you different periods of history, I think. It also can show you different parts of the body, like the layers of the ear, the layers of the eye, or show you how a brain is like when it's extremely exhausted. We can relate to that. Lastly, it can show students how to assemble simple things like a doorknob or a chair. There are so many different examples that you could use for teaching, not just science, but if you're creative, you'll be able to apply it in other subjects as well. Now, the next app is one of my personal favorites, and it's called Home Court. This is a basketball app. Okay, so if you're a basketball player, you'll find this app really, really helpful for your drill exercises and your shooting exercises. And all it uses is the front facing camera, and it helps you review your actions and shows you the alignment of your, let's say, your free throws or your 3-point shoots. I'm not a basketball player, so I'm not sure if that's the same thing. Maybe not. Hopefully not. And I got it right. Okay, but anyway, if you're not a basketball player, there are also exercises and drills that you could try out that don't need the function of a real basketball or the basketball court. You could also do challenges and drills and join leaderboards. So it's not inclusive to basketball alone. They also recently came up with this new app called Active Arcade, and it's essentially home court without the basketball features. It does practically the same thing, and it's free right now. You can download it on the App Store. So, Home Court. Home Court is basically an app that you can use for teens. But what about our younger learners? They need to exercise too, right? There is an AR app for that, and it's called Go Noodle. It has more color, it has more childish and kiddie-like animations where the students can interact with cartoon characters or colorful soccer balls that they try to block from the goals. Both of these apps are helpful for letting the kids move while they're at home. And you could also use this as you could use the videos that will be rendered afterwards that they can save as proof that they've actually done it. So it's like a performance task done at home, video performance task that doesn't need a lot of editing. It's just something that they can do, they can save, they can send. The next app, this is a fun one. It's called ScavengeGar. It's an app that allows you to create a scavenger hunt and ask your students to take them from the comforts of their own home. But if you're not one to create the scavenger hunt, you can use the pre-made scavenger hunts that were created by other teachers or by the app developers. So the nice thing about ScavengeGar is it uses the environment that the students are already in. So it could be their homes, it could be outdoor, like let's say they go to the beach and they take your scavenger hunt. You can create your own space. You can also make it a quiz by asking multiple choice questions that they get to choose. This was really created with educators in mind. There is a ScavengeGar Edu app also that you can go and check out. It can get tasking to create the playground, but I tell you, it's worth it when you get to see the reactions of your learners. One of my favorite aspect of ScavengeGar is they've updated this last year is a community board where your learners can drop a GIF and they can just drop a GIF and somebody who comes in the playground later on can see what somebody left behind. So it's kind of like a public message board that they get to see while they're in the playground. It's really, really cool. Now, it's not about knowing so many AR apps. It's about finding the right AR app for you and your learners. And that's where Ijac plays an important role for me in my classroom and in my subject. Now, earlier, I talked about how I was able to encourage my students to draw better because we were creating AR experiences off of their physical drawings. I would like to show you these drawings, and I'd like to show you how they were able to create some of their works. Ijac is basically an AR viewer. The app allows you to scan images and triggers the AR that is overlaid on each image. If you go on the website, you can easily use the app that you've downloaded. If you downloaded it earlier, scan the QR codes and then look at the specific image that it's related to, and you'll see how it brings life into the images. So over here, you will see some of the images, some of the drawings that my students have made. And right beside it will be a QR code that I've used to allow you to render or to see the AR animation on top of it. So what we are going to do is we are going to open the Ijac app. Now, if you've downloaded the Ijac app earlier, you can also check out and scan the screen. I'll be putting the code and the picture right here so you can scan the screen and see the image for yourself and experience it. But I'll also be walking you through it. So I'm right now opening the Ijac app, and you can see what the Ijac app looks like. You would want to tap on the icon on the lower left hand side, which it looks like a thumbprint, which opens up the camera. After opening the camera, you can now scan the code, and then you will see that there's a loading sign. Again, I just want to make sure that this is clear. It will only be able to download the images if you are connected to the internet. So if you're not, unfortunately, you will not be able to see the animation. After this, you can now scan and simply point your camera or point the AR app towards the image that you would like to see the animations of. So I'm going to do it right now. There. As you can see also here an example, a clear example on my phone of what it looks like when I scan the image. Now the image will actually stick onto the animation actually sticks onto the art. So if there's a specific angle that it can't anymore identify the artwork, the image will stop. But it will follow along even if you move your device. And if you move closer, you'll get to see a closer representation as well of the animations. So let's try it with another piece of art. And here is an example. If you've downloaded the app, go ahead and scan the QR code and then scan the image. I'll let it stay for a while, but while I'm explaining this to you, I just want to give you a little background of how this was created. Again, like I said earlier, each student just drew on a piece of paper. We scanned their artwork and we imported the image of the artwork into a Keynote, which is an equivalent to PowerPoint. They drew on top of their images, and we rendered each of those image we rendered the animation. So we're actually animating through Keynote. Hopefully you have the app. You can now scan them and experience the artwork come to life. How did you find that experience? I hope you enjoyed it. It's a very simple way of incorporating augmented reality into art. But we're not going to end there. I'm now going to show you how we can create this augmented reality experience through the Ijac Creator. Now, Ijac is a program that helps you create the augmented reality experience on top of your images. And it's very simple. All you can do is download the Ijac Creator app on your desktop or your computer. So it does not work on an iPad or it doesn't work on a tablet or a mobile device. You definitely need to download Ijac Creator onto a computer. So the first thing to do is to go to their website, which is ijacapp.com. And on the menu, you will find Creator. Click on that. It'll take you to the page where you can download the program. Once you've downloaded the program, okay, open the program, and then you will need to sign in by creating an account. If you are already an Ijac user, you might already have an account, so you could just use that specific account. Now, Ijac Creator has different plans. It used to be free, to be honest. But right now, they have a free plan that allows you to upload up to 100 artworks. So make the most out of your 100 artworks. So now let's make our very own AR experience. Okay, so the first thing you need is your trigger image, which will be a picture, something that you either drew or an image that you found online. Or it could be actually a picture of yourself or people, things. It doesn't matter. You just need an image that is saved in a JPEG or PNG file format. The second thing you will need is a GIF. GIF. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but GIF. Allow me to say that. It could be an animation. So it's basically, those ones that you find on Facebook Messenger and you can share it with your friends. Those are GIFs, if you're not familiar. I'm pretty sure all of us are familiar with GIFs. We overuse them in our chat box. But you need to save them on your computer as well. The third thing you need, and this is optional, would be your audio. Now, it could be an audio that you recorded or something you downloaded that will enhance your AR experience. Okay, now that I have all the assets ready, you can see here all the assets are ready. You can simply click on Create a New Artwork. First step is to drag in the image. And you will know that it is not in the right format because it will prompt and it'll tell you that you need to export it in the correct format. Sometimes changing the address or the format link at the end from caps to small letters works. Sometimes, but it doesn't happen all the time. If not, you have to find a way to re-export them into the correct format. After dropping in the artwork, click on Next and drag in the animation. It can be a GIF or a PNG sequence. If you are a Canva user, you can actually render GIFs and PNG sequences from Canva plugin. Okay. From the animation step, you can also add your sound. So I'm going to add my sound. Okay, great. So now that I have all my assets in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to label my trigger image. Okay, then I will create this. And it will render a QR code. So why will it render a QR code? Just like what we saw earlier with the pictures that we posted or that I showed you, we need to scan the QR code first so that it will load into Ijac, the app, and it'll identify the overlay of the trigger image. Okay, just a piece of advice. If you are rendering a lot of images, and you need to make a library of all of these things, I would suggest that you name each GIF, each animation, each trigger image, and each QR code, save them under the same name so you will not interchange them later on, because it will be very difficult to discover or to identify which QR code belongs to a specific trigger image. Again, that's so important because learn from experience. I'm just saying. We can now test it by going back to our mobile device and opening Ijac again. And then we go now to this. So I have here the QR code which I'm scanning, and now I go to my image. So I'll put the image and the code on the screen so you can try it out for yourself. So Ijac recently rolled out a new feature called panels. And this is very helpful for educators because now you can create an information board alongside an animation. So I'm going to go on the website. You can check this out for yourself, but let's do it together as well. You can simply go on to their website and view panels. So, okay. So right now, this is an example of what panels is like in real time. So you can scan the code from wherever you are and see their example of a humpback whale. And it gives the information and the sound. But we're going to experience it right now. Let's jump into Ijac and scan their code, which will now ask me to check launch AR. Okay, so now you get to see the whale and hear the whale. Okay. So that's the sound. Now, panels is a feature where you can add now AR panels and also use them as information boards. So we have here the parts of the whale. We have the migration map. We have on top there the audio recording of the sound that they make, which we never get to hear. And then we have also the introduction, information about the whale. So this might be something that you're looking for, and go ahead and try to tinker around on Ijac Creator and see how you can create your own panel boards as well. Now, how can we use Ijac for subjects that are not art? I can personally see this for remote learning, where you can attach a QR code to a specific portion of your module. So when your students take their device out, they scan the module with Ijac. Again, it's a free app, and they can see something, maybe a lecture. It doesn't necessarily have to be an animation. It can simply be you discussing or you talking about the concept, or maybe attach a video. There are many, many ways to use AR, and many, many ways that it can help and enhance learning, especially now that we are all learning from home. There are very many other AR applications, and one that might suit you best. If you are an iPad user, check out Reality Composer. It is an AR app that will allow you to create an interactive AR playground by creating and bringing in different assets that you can find online, or even something that you can create yourself. In closing, Tim Sweeney says, augmented reality will change the world more than any other technology. I've seen this in my classroom. My students were eager to draw, eager to animate, with little efforts from me asking them to do it. I hope that by the end of this webinar workshop, you will download some of these apps, explore them, and be as excited as I am about augmented reality. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. God bless you, and I'll see you at the Q&A.